Episode 104, weighing in with Travis Hartman. This is the heavyweight episode. Weekend Trav, do you feel it? Do you feel...
The heavyweights.
Yeah, there you go. That there is Weekend Trav. I'm B-Money, the producer. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right, we're talking heavyweights because this coming weekend we got Tyson Fury back in action out of retirement for the 100th time, taking on Derek Chisora in what Weekend Trav has dubbed the trilogy that should never have happened. So we'll talk about that fight coming up this weekend, but also Whyte was in action this past weekend with Anthony Joshua ringside, and then also some Deontay Wilder type stuff. Weekend Trav, for once, we're finally talking heavyweights. It sounds like it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
You know, but before we kind of go off in a different tangent and direction, let's just jump right in to Tyson Fury taking on Derek Chisora for the third time.
I mean, it's unheard of because usually the reason why people fight three times is because either the first two were questionable decisions or one person won one, the other person won the other. Well, guess what? Tyson Fury beat him in a unanimous decision. Unanimous decision. The second time they fought, Tyson Fury stopped him in the 10th round. So can anybody tell me why we're doing this a third time? Can anybody? Please chime in. But I'm not surprised because Tyson Fury literally lives by his own clock. He's a different cat. And that's kind of what we've accepted. And he's changing the landscape of a lot of stuff for sure. But we're going to watch. I'm still going to watch.
Of course.
That's the thing.
The Gypsy King lives by the Gypsy Code, whatever that is. And I don't even think that's a thing. And that's his deal. And now he's fighting this guy for the third time. And we'll watch it even though there's no real reason to, right?
No.
I mean, I'm thankful that there's another name being tossed around besides the obvious Usyk, which doesn't seem to... pan out. I don't know. I don't know who's ducking who. I don't know what's going on with that one. But let's not talk about it. Let's talk about the fight itself. Let's talk about Fury, Chisora. Does Derek Chisora have a chance here?
It's the heavyweight division, so he does, because Derek Chisora can punch. Derek Chisora is a very durable, heavy-handed guy. I mean, Derek Chisora, let's see what his record is here. Derek Chisora is 33 wins and 12 losses, and he's fighting for a world title. So all of you fighters out there that have lost double-digit fights, just think, you could be 33 and 12 and you get a world title shot, okay? Don't lose hope. But, so, he can punch. He's got, 23 knockouts, I believe? Yeah, 23 knockouts. He obviously can punch a little bit.
He's coming off a win, right?
He's coming off of a split decision win to a formidable opponent, Pulev. But he's also, in 2021, he fought Joseph Parker twice, and he lost a split decision to Joseph Parker. Yeah. And then he lost a UD to Joseph. But he also fought Alexander Usyk in 2020, at the end of 2020. So literally 2 years ago in October. It was 2 years ago. And he went the distance with Usyk. So he can fight. There's no doubt he can fight. But what happens when he fights the best? He ends up losing. He's one of those guys that he does fight the best, and he's competitive with the best. He just doesn't beat the best. So that's why I keep saying it's going to be a good fight. But you know what I think what Tyson Fury's plan is that since Usyk fought him, I think Tyson Fury's going to try to stop him. Because he's going to say, well, look what I did. Yeah. Usyk couldn't do that. And it was just 2 years ago, so it would be a similar... I mean, you can't say that Chisora is that much different from 2 years ago. So that's what Fury's going to tell everybody. Hey, listen, I'm not ducking Usyk. Look what I did to Derek Chisora. Mark my words. Tyson Fury is going to say that stuff because he might end up stopping him because he has stopped Chisora once already. Chisora retired in between rounds between the 10th and 11th, I believe it was. But watch. What's the odds? Give me the odds.
So I'm giving you Tyson Fury on this. So it's usually a little bit different because they like some juice on this site that I'm on typically. So I got Tyson Fury minus 2,000. And Chisora plus 900. Looks like the over-under on the rounds is 6.5.
Yep, he's going to stop him.
Looking like favored more to be over the 6.5.
Yeah, it'll go over, I think.
Yeah, so Weekend Trav, I don't know. I mentioned last week on episode 103 it might be worth if you do what I do, you nickel and dime these things, it might be worth the $5 flyer because you never know. Like you said, heavyweights, you never know. Everyone can punch hard.
They can.
Chisora, $5 on Chisora, and that'll be a pretty handsome payout. In the grand scheme of things, depending on how you bet. But minus 2,000 is just bananas. That's absurd. It's like... This shouldn't even be. This shouldn't. I'm hoping this isn't a pay-per-view because no one wants to pay for this. There's no way.
I think it's ESPN Plus or regular. I think it's regular ESPN actually. I think we talked about that in the last episode 103. I think we did say that it's just regular ESPN.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Plus, just for them to get a little bit.
I'm pretty sure that It doesn't say. Bob Arum is the promoter, so it will be ESPN, but maybe ESPN Plus. Regardless, even if it's ESPN Plus, that's not considered pay-per-view because it's a subscription service. So I know it's going to be ESPN.
But it's earlier in the day because it's coming from London, England. The main card starts Eastern Standard 5 p.m. So I could see it where maybe it's traditional ESPN, but maybe not because you might have some football games going on, some conference championship games going on that weekend. Since this was kind of the final weekend of a regular, quote unquote, regular season for NCAA football. So you might have some of the conference title games going on the same day. So that's something to consider, depending on whether or not it would be ESPN and ESPN. Either way, we can trav. This is the trilogy that should never have happened.
What happened last time I said that?
It seems like Tyson Fury is the king of the trilogies that should never happen. Yet the last one with Deontay Wilder was pretty exciting. So who knows? This one could be exciting, folks. Take a look. If you're a gambler, take a look at what makes sense for you here, if anything. But maybe playing the rounds here, that can get a little exciting. It looks like I got under 6.5 rounds, being like plus 110. So yeah, there's some playing around there you could do.
So this fight is regular ESPN, and it is for the WBC heavyweight title, which is the title that Tyson Fury owns. But he's also considered the Ring Magazine heavyweight champion as well. But it's December 3rd, Derek Chisora, and it is regular ESPN. It's saying.
Okay, so don't give me a prediction, because here's what I want. I want a video prediction, which will drop at the end of this week. It'll drop probably on Friday, maybe Thursday night. We'll see how cool and loosey-goosey we're feeling. But we're going to do the prediction video, you and I.
Are we going to do a side-by-side one?
We'll do a side-by-side one. Okay, we can do that. And so if you want our take on who's going to win this thing and how, because I think it's pretty obvious who's probably going to win this thing, but how is more specific, then stay tuned. Subscribe below to the channel. You'll get and hit the bell icon so you'll know when that content drops. So we'll be dropping some other stuff this week too. Weekend draft. Let's shift gears from this heavyweight matchup.
Let's do it.
But it's still the heavyweight episode.
All heavyweights.
104 is the heavyweight episode. So let's shift gears from the fight that just occurred. Okay, so this episode drops on Wednesday. This is the #1 Beers, Bourbon, and Boxing podcast shot in Orlando, Florida. Specifically, Laureate Park, specifically in a boxing gym on the second floor of said boxing gym in the podcast room. Shot on a Sunday or Monday, today being Sunday, dropping on
Wednesday morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
In the world. So this fight happened this past Saturday, and that was Dillian Whyte. Honestly, I don't even know who he fought.
Jermaine Franklin, courtesy of DAZN and your favorite promoter, Eddie Hearn.
Eddie Hearn. He's not that bad. I just think he's getting a little too big for his britches. But let's talk about Dillian Whyte. So Dillian Whyte won a close decision matchup with this guy.
He won a majority decision.
That's not really the news here. The news here being is that one Anthony Joshua was in attendance. Ringside.
Of course.
And they, it seemed like more of a respectful exchange at the end.
It was extremely cordial.
Yeah, because, British and whatnot there.
I mean, what's Joshua going to do? He's just coming off of double losses.
Yeah.
He's not going to get too excited because he knows he's got the, his step doesn't got the same bounce in it as he used to.
No.
He did. He got his step knocked off a little bit. He doesn't have that same bounce in his step now. He doesn't have that same swagger because he knows that he's not invincible like he probably thought.
No. So he's basically a male model, but is he an ambi-turner?
Well, he can only turn left.
He can only turn left. Okay.
He's a bodybuilder, is what Tyson Fury said from day one. He said, I'll fight the bodybuilder anytime, anywhere, which is actually really funny. But you're right, though. The guy's a very handsome dude. He is. And I can say that very heterosexually. I'm married and have a child.
Well, whatever.
And we also love Mario Lopez.
There's nothing wrong with it. I mean,
you should do hearts over my head every time that
to
I
each
say
their
Mario
own.
Lopez. Can we do that?
Did you watch him? He's on the Macy's parade for Thanksgiving here in the States. Did you see that?
He is.
He was sitting on top of the turkey with his daughter.
Of course he did.
The big turkey float.
Literally, he's the epitome.
He's everywhere.
I look up to
I
him.
will say this weekend, Trav, for the first time ever, to me, he looked a little older.
Oh, is finally?
On Thursday morning. Not a lot older.
I mean, what is he, 60
I
years
think
old?
maybe
No,
he was
okay.
tired or something. But I could just see. Like,
He does so much stuff. He's got 3 kids now.
I felt like there was age. Yeah, but his teenage daughter was with him sitting on top of the big turkey float. Pretty cool. And they kept going back to him. So it wasn't like they just showed him on camera once. They kept feeding back to him throughout the parade.
The dude is a freaking icon.
Yeah.
I think he is.
Yeah, he's an idol. Anyways, Talking Anthony Joshua, the potential setup here looking
So,
Dillian Whyte.
Yes, and that's listen. I told you, and I'm going to reiterate this again. I know what they're doing. Eddie Hearn is being a promoter, and he's being very smart because he's trying to, I guess, squeegee as much money as he can out of Anthony Joshua's career at this point, because we do know that Anthony Joshua, he's not the best heavyweight in the world. In fact, he's not even. I would say that it's a toss-up fight if he ever fought Deontay Wilder. If he fights Tyson Fury, obviously I think he loses. If he fights any of the other top heavyweights, I don't think he's a massive favorite. Before he was. When he beat Vladimir Klitschko to get that Ring Magazine title, became heavyweight champion of the world, and a 10th or 11th round KO, he looked like he was going to be the next coming of that division.
Yeah.
And then now he's not.
It'd be a bad fight, I think. We could talk about this in a few moments, but with Deontay Wilder, I think that would be a bad fight.
Yes. So what I think that Eddie Hearn was trying to do is, obviously it was in England, so clearly Anthony Joshua was a boxing guy anyway, so he was there ringside watching the fight. Sure. But after the fight, he came up, kind of shook hands outside the ring. It was a very cordial situation, but Eddie Hearn kind of mentioned that that's what he's looking at next. And they have already fought once. Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua fought early in Dillian Whyte's career, and Anthony Joshua won. I believe he stopped him in like 8th or 9th round. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he did win. Dillian Whyte, in all of his fights, he is a good fight. He's a good heavyweight. He is. He's a solid heavyweight, and I think he actually beat Anthony Joshua in the amateurs, was the big sell anyway. But they're trying to set up an Anthony Joshua-Dillian Whyte fight. That is the safest and best bet for Anthony Joshua right now to get back on track after double losses, back-to-back losses against Usyk, also a loss against Ruiz. So what does Joshua have? 3 losses now. The guy's lost to Andy Ruiz and Usyk twice now. So he's got 3 losses.
Rebounded against Ruiz, though. So,
yes, he did. Yeah. But it wasn't an impressive rebound. Ruiz came in like 30-something pounds heavier. Yeah. Like that was more of a, I think that was more of a, Ruiz kind of gave that one away almost. Yeah. But regardless, he did. He avenged that loss. He did 100%. So he was trying to avenge the loss to Usyk as well and wasn't able to. That fight was a same fight, if not even more so, in Usyk's favor the second time. Yeah. So they're trying to rebuild Anthony Joshua's career because this guy used to sell out 90,000-seat soccer arenas in England. Yeah. Okay? The guy's a major seller. So Eddie Hearn would be stupid if he tried to just let him right off into the sunset. He's going to try to squeegee out as much money and as much fights as he can out of this guy because the heavyweight division is very popular again.
And because he's a promoter, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to get blood out of a turnip, and that's what he's doing.
I think that what he's going to do is set this up, Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua next, and then maybe an interim fight in between there, depending on how, let's say Anthony Joshua knocks out Dillian Whyte. Mm-hmm. I think that'll set up immediately a Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua fight.
You think?
And I think it'll happen next year if he dominates Dillian Whyte in pretty dominant fashion. I think that'll make a clear case, in their opinion, that he deserves to fight Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury wants this fight because, in my opinion, it's an easy fight for Tyson Fury. And in my opinion, I don't think Tyson Fury necessarily wants Usyk that much either.
Oh, I don't think so at all.
I'm not saying that I think Usyk would beat him. I just think that would be a very tough fight. Because Usyk is a different style. Yeah. He's a smaller heavyweight, but it can box, can fight, go punches from angles. And I just think the size difference is huge. Yeah. And I think it actually would favor a little bit of Usyk, the way he fights. So I don't think that's a fight that Tyson Fury necessarily wants. Would he take it? Yes, because I think the guy he's the best out there. He's always fought the best. So I'm not saying he's ducking him at all. But I'm saying if I had a choice, if I'm going to fight Usyk or Anthony Joshua, I'm probably going to make more money fighting 100%. Joshua, and I'm going to beat Joshua. Yeah. So I'm going to lean that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think when it comes to like an Anthony Joshua, you're looking at more than likely next step is going to be Dillian Whyte. There's no reason why they wouldn't have had those two guys there.
It's a very smart fight.
Very smart. There's a couple other names. If we're talking about rebuilding him, rebranding, rebuilding him, probably you're looking at some of the common names that we talked about. We talked about him earlier today because he's taking on Tyson Fury. Derek Chisora. That might be one to throw in front of him too. Yep. Ruiz. Yep. Andy Ruiz again. Yep. Okay, so they fought twice, correct?
Yep.
Okay, and each one taking a victory.
That actually would warrant a trilogy.
That's a true 100%. Trilogy. Each guy
would warrant it.
But I think, and we talked about this in pre-production, putting like a Deontay Wilder in front of him, dumb.
Oh, in front of Anthony Joshua?
That would be dumb. That's a matchup nightmare for him. I think Deontay Wilder would knock his block off into the upper deck of Wembley.
I think that it's the heavyweight division, so anything can happen. But I think Anthony Joshua for sure could outbox Deontay Wilder. But for 12 rounds without getting caught at least once, I don't think it could happen. I think that Deontay Wilder in my opinion, it's going to go down. I think it's going to go down this way. Is he has got to be one of the hardest punching heavyweights of all time. I'm not joking around when I say that. This guy punches hard.
After seeing his heart in the third fight with Fury,
oh my gosh,
if he would bring that into the ring with Anthony Joshua stands no chance. There's no chance.
And this is not to talk smack on Anthony Joshua, but I do think that Deontay Wilder has more heart than Anthony Joshua. I just do. And if you watch Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 3, actually, if you watch all of the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Furies, Deontay Wilder never one time gave up, ever. In fact, when they stopped the fight, he was actually upset and fired his trainer for stopping the fight.
Yeah.
But then the third one, the referee stopped it, but they could have stopped that fight 3 or 4 rounds earlier.
Is there a more emotional fighter in the heavyweight bracket than Deontay Wilder?
Well, other than Tyson Fury, no.
Well, you know what I mean. So Wilder wears his heart on his sleeve. Fury's just in and out of retirement, so you don't know who you're dealing with. All right.
He's a gypsy. He's a typical gypsy.
There you
They're
go.
not stable. They move about.
around.
They never stay in one spot too long.
Yeah.
This is literally.
You ever see that movie Snatch? I love that movie.
I have not.
Okay, it's an old movie. Anyways, Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua, heavyweights. But let's talk, since I mentioned him, Deontay Wilder. Okay, so he's coming off of a W.
Yes.
Right.
Robert Helenius.
Yes.
It was a pretty good knockout, too.
Yeah, first round, wasn't it? Or
First
or
second
second
early.
round.
Yeah, it was very
I won
early.
money on that one. I remember that.
Yeah.
What's next for him then? There's a lot of names we're throwing out here, Weekend Draft, but this is the heavyweight episode, so we want to mention it. Obviously, Tyson Fury, that's done. Derek Chisora wouldn't make sense. Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn's not that dumb.
You know what makes sense? Andy Ruiz.
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder.
And they both want it.
And they both deserve it because they're
Yeah.
both coming off wins. They both are very, very important figures in the heavyweight division. And that fight would be very meaningful. By the way, he did knock out Robert Helenius in the first round. Deontay Wilder did. But Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder, that's a phenomenal fight. It's a great fight. And Deontay Wilder has all the advantages in that fight. But Andy Ruiz has proved over and over again that he doesn't have all the advantages, but yet somehow he still gets it done.
He's powerful.
He still beats people.
He's
he can
more,
box and he's powerful.
He's more powerful than people give him credit
Yes,
for.
he's got snap on his
Absolutely.
punches. You watch some of his training videos. This dude's got pop on his punches, which is what I love about boxing, is that it's technique, it's timing, it's everything. It's not looks, it's not appearance, it's not all that crap. He's got phenomenal timing and phenomenal snap on his punches because you still look at him, he's out of shape looking guy. He does got some jelly rolls. He bounced around.
Sure.
He's got some man boobs. He's got some moves.
Well,
he does.
he got tattoos
He does.
in order to make it look like he has
Yeah,
pecs
those
and stuff.
suckers still shake and jiggle a little
Yeah,
bit,
they
so
do.
you can tell. But he can punch, and he's actually a very intelligent boxer too. He's got
Yeah.
an amateur pedigree. The guy can box, and that's honestly, I think, what one of his people underestimate him. They're like, they look at him, think he's a Mexican, think he can just fight, and he's just tough. No, he actually can box, and he can punch. So he's a very, I mean, honestly, that's a great fight because he could outbox Deontay Wilder. Most people can, to be fair. And Andy Ruiz can take a punch, too. But has he ever fought a guy who can punch like Deontay Wilder? Probably not, because I don't think Anthony Joshua does. He does hit hard, though, but I don't think he punches like Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Who does? Nobody. Like,
So-
it's impossible.
So then let me ask you this. In comparison between the two, Deontay Wilder, Ruiz, Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua, what would you be more excited in watching?
Deontay Wilder, Andy Ruiz.
Yeah.
Period. Bar none. And I think if you choose any other way, you're just a hater because Deontay Wilder, Andy Ruiz is a great fight for the fans. That would be, I think that you could call that the people's champion after that. Like, that's a people's champion type
And listen,
of fight. We want that fight.
We've been fairly
We're clamoring for that.
In the past, we've been fairly critical of Deontay Wilder with good reason. I think after the trilogy with Fury, he gained a lot of respect from the boxing community, just how he continued to battle in that fight. I just dropped my pen. So Weekend Draft. That's the heavyweights. So dare I say it, 2023 Weekend Draft, could this possibly be the year of the heavyweights? Because all these guys in the lightweight division seem to be ducking and playing on social media and Twitter with one another. These guys are potentially setting up fights.
Well, I would say actually 2022 could have been the year of the heavyweight division already too, because you had Usyk emerge, you had Joshua kind of falling off, you had Tyson Fury putting on the amazing fight with Deontay Wilder, then you have Deontay Wilder going on and putting another amazing fight with Robert Helenius. I think 2022 was the year of the heavyweights, and to be fair, all the people we just named, I think we could see great blockbuster heavyweight fights into 2024 with just those guys we mentioned.
And what's crazy is this whole conversation, we mentioned him once or twice, but nothing directly about Usyk himself.
Yeah, true.
Who does he fight next? Who
He's kinda
wants
left
to
out.
fight him?
And that's crazy because you're right. He's kind of the outside looking in.
Yeah.
When really, he should be holding a lot of the cards because he owns 3, I believe, of the heavyweight titles. Anthony Joshua owned like 3 of those titles.
He's just
Tyson Fury only has
missing
one.
Furies. He's just missing
The
Furies,
WBC,
really.
yeah. And so, like, you're right. It's crazy, but he's not one of those fighters that most people are clamoring to fight, which also, not to take anything away from Anthony Joshua, I give a lot of respect to him for fighting Usyk once, let alone twice. Because the first time he fought Usyk, he was supposed to fight Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
And I told everybody, I said, even though I got that prediction wrong, I told everybody, I go, this is a stupid fight if you're going to fight Tyson Fury next because this is not a gimme fight.
But the point is at least he stepped up and
He
fought
did, and
him.
that's what I'm saying. I give him
A
respect
lot of
for
these
that.
other guys are making excuses, but making it seem like it's on Usyk. Fury, I get the impression Fury doesn't want to fight this guy because that would really tarnish his legacy if he lost to this guy, which I think it's a pretty favorable chance where he might lose to an Usyk. Okay?
It's a good fight.
I mean, why is he fighting a Derek Chisora? How many losses does Derek Chisora have?
12.
12.
Over 13.
And we're fighting this guy for the 3rd time, though you've beat him twice. You can't tell me you're not ducking this guy who has 3 of the belts that you want around your waist, or are you just happy, Tyson Fury, with the one that you have?
I mean, Tyson Fury, like he's doing whatever he wants to do. And I think he's telling. I think this is his flex.
But here's
What
the
we call-
thing.
This is Tyson Fury's flex to say I can do whatever I want and you guys will like it.
When do we stop giving him the pass? No, we mentioned also pre-production.
Well,
no
next fight.
one pushes back on him for being in and out of retirement whenever he feels like. No one pushes back on the social media antics. No one pushes back on his stepbrother and his father and all the stupid stuff that we get to see with them. No one pushes back on this guy for some reason. Why?
Well, I mean, I think that he does. To be fair, I think he does deserve a Derek Chisora-like fight because, one, he fought Deontay Wilder 3 times.
Sure.
Right? And then he fought Dillian Whyte right after that. So his last 3 fights were Deontay Wilder, Dillian Whyte. All extremely formidable opponents. So the Derek Chisora, I don't crazy disagree with it.
No.
Because I think it is a very formidable opponent. Not formidable. It's a very durable opponent. That's not a gimme, but he should win, yes. But after that, agreed. I think after December, and I think that's why he did it so fast too, after a Dillian Whyte fight. I think that he's trying to get this out of the way, boom, just to get a win, cash a paycheck, and then in 2023, if he doesn't fight another major player or a world champion, then I think a lot of the media will jump all over
It's got to be. It's either got to be an Anthony Joshua just for the England thing. It's got to be that because everyone's been clamoring for that for a couple of years. I know we have.
Yeah.
Or Usyk.
Not as big as it
I
was,
get the feeling it would be Anthony Joshua. Actually,
It's
I think
his best bet. It's his best bet.
I think that would be more money too.
Yeah, it is. It's the biggest ratings. It's the most money. And if you're Eddie Hearn now, you know this. You're not trying to risk Anthony Joshua getting beat by anybody else at this point. I'm going to tell you right now, I bet you do not see Anthony Joshua in the ring next year with anybody that they are not comfortable with or anybody that he hasn't already faced before, meaning they're comfortable with. You're not going to see him fight an up-and-comer. You're not going to see him fight some crazy, outlandish guy that you've never heard of. They're not going to take any risk. They're going to fight in his comfort zone until he fights a Tyson Fury. And the reason why it's a Tyson Fury, because the Tyson Fury is the All-England battle. It's the biggest heavyweight title
Huge money
in
battle.
England. Of all time,
Huge,
probably,
yeah.
in heavyweight division in England.
Yeah.
They've never had 2 heavyweights that were this good at the same time.
It might be close to. It might be in the conversation of top 5, probably at least money wise.
Yeah, I think ratings, money wise, for sure. If it would have happened
Yeah.
a year or so ago, even more. But I think that Tyson Fury has that ability to build a fight that he'll sell the crap out of a Joshua
They both
fight.
would, and Eddie Hearn's not. No, there's
100%.
no slouch there either. So
It's where he's a good promoter at.
So I could see that happening, but once again, you know who's left out in the cold?
Usyk.
The champ,
Yep.
right? So, but those are 7 names we can Trav. Heavyweights, 7 names that we just talked about that are all in the mix with each other somehow, some way, some shape or form, or have fought each other
And
already.
we're not even talking about the up-and-coming undefeated guys either. This is just that mix right there. I think, I'm telling you, we have enough with those guys alone to go into 2024 with major big fights.
There are some names, and maybe even more on the cruiserweights that could step up to that, like Usyk has done. And I think as we get closer to the end of the year, we're going to do what we normally do at the end of the year, which is our fight of the year or knockout of the year, up-and-comer of the year, or whatever we call it. But I have
Prospect of the year.
Prospect of the year. I have one guy in mind. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet. It might not be surprising, but I know we've never talked about him on this show.
Heavyweight or no?
I think technically a cruiser.
Okay.
And it's not.
There's actually a
it's not
couple
local
heavyweights
version.
that are knocking on the door right now. In the next year to 2 years, for sure, will be up in that mix.
All
as
I
well,
know
but
is
we'll talk about
my
it later.
guy and who's going to be my prospect of the year come next year. He sports a freaking sweet mustache. We're going to talk about him in a couple of weeks probably. Don't think now because you'll figure out who it is. Anyways, episode 104, heavyweights. Let's wrap it up. Final thoughts on the heavyweights.
It's a great division right now.
Yeah.
It's like I said, when you have enough matchups to last you until 2024, that means we have a deep and competitive division. And that's not even mixing in.
I didn't even say anything.
You gave me that look like
I did not.
He said, it's deep. I knew what you were saying. But that's what she said. But I think that the division is deep right now. It really is. Truly, there's a lot of depth in that division.
Don't look at me. Just don't look at me.
There is, and it can go into 2024.
Yeah.
And that's not even with the up-and-coming undefeated guys that are already there, that are
Yeah.
top 5 in the world right now. They're knocking on the door. That's insane. We haven't had that in a really long time. So I'm very happy with the matchups that we could possibly get in 2023 and 2024, and we're ending 2022 on a pretty good note. And I think that this year you could easily say was the year of the heavyweight. You really could, and you wouldn't be wrong because the blockbuster fights at least were more heavyweights
because they at least fought each other. So and you know, going to wrap this episode up next week episode. We're going to talk a bit obviously about Bud Crawford, Terrence Crawford's fighting. I don't even remember who he's fighting.
Chocolatito is in David Anneson.
Yeah.
Chocolatito is also in a trilogy fight with David Estrada, which is a big fight. Chocolatito used to be pound for pound champion of the world. That's all December 10th. So yeah, Crawford and Anneson.
Yeah, so we got some stuff to talk about. We'll talk about next week. But that's the wrap up for episode 104. We appreciate our media partners, TH Boxing, Gulfstream Financial, IF Enterprises, as always. And We Can Travel. Let's go. Final thoughts.
Lopez
that's coming up as well.
It's the same weekend, same day. Sorry.
So that's when I toss it to him and say, hey, final thoughts there, Weekend Trav.
We have a lot of fights that are, like I said, usually December is May, September, and December are usually blockbuster fights. I don't think we have a blockbuster type of fight in December, but I do think we have 3 blockbuster fighters fighting. Terrence Crawford, Teofimo Lopez, Chocolatito. Could we see an upset in any of those? Who knows? Probably not, but who knows? You have to. This is what I tell everybody: is boxing's not fought on paper; it's fought in the ring. So whatever we say on paper, oh yeah, Terrence Crawford, yeah, he's supposed to win. It doesn't matter. He still has to go out there and fight because these guys are punching each other in the mouth. So one guy could go down and not get back up.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen, but David Anneson is no. He's not shy of upsets. He's had a couple upsets in his career already. So this guy can fight. It's not a pushover like everybody thinks, but Crawford is also supposed to be the pound for pound. So he's supposed to win this.
See what
he's
happens.
Supposed to do it in an exciting fashion. If he can knock this guy out, that's huge.
And we'll talk about that next week on episode 105. But this is episode 104. We appreciate you joining us. If you have yet to subscribe to our content, to our channel, please do so below. We'll be dropping some more content, some just crazy happenings in the world of boxing, some of our short videos you've seen along the way as well. And also, I think we're going to start doing some tutorial stuff here this week.
Yes, sir.
And then we have the prediction video for Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora coming up at the end of the week as well. This is Wednesday if you're watching us the day it drops. We appreciate the support. And as always, thought I was going to say it right away. I didn't.
Did.
I paused.
I was looking up like,
That there's Weekend Trav.
That there's B Money, a.k.a. producer, a.k.a. I don't know what else.
Okay. I've been called worse. God
I've been
bless.
called worse by better.